The question I get asked most is, Isla, how did you know what business to start? And the truth is, I really didn't. Most people, including me, get stuck in the ideation phase forever because we think that whatever we choose is going to be our identity for the next 40 years and that we're going to be stuck with it. If you have a weirdly niche idea like making and selling beef jerky or, I don't know, renting out vending machines, then you don't want to be the beef jerky guy or the vending machine girl. But the thing that got me over that hump is that I'm not picking my destiny or my permanent brand. I'm just picking my first experiment. We have this really strange idea and an external pressure that we need to figure out our thing straight off the bat and then get it right first time. And to be honest, it's not really like that in reality, even for the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. There is a good chance that the one business person you look up to started in a really weird, boring niche, made that work to some degree, enough to get some money off the back of it, and then experimented in lots of different areas. But that's exactly it. When you start, you're not really an entrepreneur, you're just a learner. You're starting with lots of little ideas and seeing what sticks. If you start a brand selling artificial plants, like I have, then yeah, you're gonna be the plant person for a while. But that doesn't lock you into that sector forever. You're just building a foundation. You're learning the mechanics. You're learning what you actually have to think about when it comes to business. Because once you have the idea, you need to then think about what you need to turn it into a reality. Would that be a website? Would that be flyers? Do you need to sort out social media marketing? Do you need to find lots of different suppliers? What is your packaging going to look like? And with every question comes a problem. That thing isn't in place yet. And the solution is that you need to figure out step by step how to put that into place. Over time, as you chip away at all the problems and you start building the business, you learn lots of different skills. And those skills translate into speed where you can eventually grow and diagnose problems and hopefully make some money. And it's with those skills and the money that you've earned from that you can either scale the existing business or experiment in other areas. So, how do you pick which thing to start? Well, I suggest running your idea through 3 simple filters. First, the pain filter. Don't search for a gap in the market. That's for MBAs. Search for pain in your life, in the life of your family and friends. What issue do you come face to face with every day? And if you don't know what that is, start taking note of every time you come across something that is annoying or that you feel like you can solve. Everyone has a problem in their life that they come up with solutions to pretty much on a regular basis. We just don't really realize that we can be doing that for other people as well. Second, the capacity filter. Be honest with yourself as to the season of your life that you're in. If you've currently got a 9 to 5 or you're dreaming of being a digital nomad, don't pick a business that would necessitate you owning a warehouse or spending 4 hours a day at the post office. If your business model isn't going to fit the life that you want, you're just going to move from one hellhole to another hellhole. The third filter, and this is one I actually tripped up on myself, is the feedback filter. How quickly can you create a minimum viable product or service and get someone to pay you for it? If it's going to take you 6 to 12 months to design something or build something and potentially not even get any money for it, it might not be the best idea to begin with. You need the feedback loop of your idea to be days, not months. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time potentially making something that nobody wants. You aren't looking for perfection just yet. You just need to see if there's someone out there that cares about your idea as much as you do and is willing to pay for it. For example, if you're going to start an organic lemonade company, don't design the logo and then get a whole bunch of labels printed and buy jars and start making massive batches first. Go to a bunch of neighbors or message some friends and be like, I'm gonna make this amazing lemonade. I was wondering if you might like some. The first 100 customers get 50% off 6 bottles. Are you interested? And if they say yes, ask for the money there and then. If they hand over the money to you, you've hit something and you can go and start making it. I know the idea of having money for a product that you haven't created yet is kind of stressful, but at that point, as long as you're honest with whoever you've pitched to about how long it's going to take to get the initial product out, they will be understanding. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given you the money in the first place. The problem that I had when starting my business, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is that I built this massive thing with my husband before even speaking to a bunch of people about it. And it made it really hard to earn that first bit of money. So I would just suggest testing small first and testing quickly. That segues me quite nicely onto how I chose what business to start myself. My husband Chris and I, over the course of several months, sat down and asked, what is a problem we actually understand? And one of the ideas we came up with was, we love the aesthetic of plants in our home, but we're both terrible at keeping them alive. And we know that a lot of people have this problem too. The issue was that wherever we looked for high-end artificial plants or a specific plant-themed curation for home decor, it was really hard to find. Either things were overpriced or looked like cheap plastic, or if you wanted to go to a single place to get a mug with flowers on it or a piece of art that had plants in it as the main theme, it just didn't really exist. So we just decided to start it and see what happened. Now, I'm going to be honest, the business is not making enough that we can live off the earnings of it, and we're still leaning quite a bit on our savings. But for somebody who's never started a business before and earned money from an idea that they've created, earning even a couple £100 a month and to be ever so slightly profitable is an amazing achievement. And it's that achievement that fuels you and your future ideas into success. Also, the process of actually starting and giving something a go teaches you so much. We learn how to build a website, to run ads, to deal with the sales process, supply chains, customer feedback, the lot. But once you have the knowledge, you can apply it to basically anything you do in the future. And that means that every other experiment or business idea you have will be a little bit better and smoother further down the line. If you want to see the nitty-gritty of the first year, you know, what worked, what didn't, what I really regret, then I have a full video on that you can check out after this if you like. The thing is, starting a business in itself was worth its weight in gold as an experience for me because it taught me something massive. I love our idea and I love Plantish, but I don't think I would personally want to stay in the home decor sector forever. I would probably get the business to a state where it basically runs itself or sell it off in favor of being in the sector of consumables. I realize I'd rather be in the business of something people buy, use up, and then come back to you for, and also that's a bit more essential than the home decor world. That insight and my personal preference around business would not have come from me sitting at home reading books and watching YouTube videos about entrepreneurship. It would come from actually doing and trying something. So the faster you launch your first thing, the quicker you get to the next best thing. And I think you just have to accept that the first thing you do isn't necessarily just going to be a success. Even if you're an incredibly talented person, even if whatever you've put your hand to in the past has gone relatively well after hard work, business just isn't always like that. Pick one thing that solves a problem that you personally care about, or pick something that you're good at making and start. Just ask somebody if they're interested. If they say yes, ask them to pay for it. That's when you know if they actually mean the yes that they've said. Don't worry about being the window guy or the laptop repair girl. Be the person that actually does something. And if you need some extra help on the how-to side, or you're a little bit curious about how I got to the point where I felt brave enough to start my own business, then I have a video on the few books I read that finally gave me the confidence to give it a go. And that will be linked somewhere around here and in the description as well. Take 30 minutes a day, sit down, think about the problems in your life, and write some ideas down on how you might be able to get started at solving them, even if it's imperfect at the start. I promise you, you'll be surprised what you come up with when you give yourself a little bit of time to really think about it. I really hope that you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all about anything I've mentioned, feel free to pop it down in the comment section below. I reply to every single one. Also, I don't really say this that much because I find it super cringe, but somebody once told me that if you don't ask, you don't get. And what I'm going to ask today is, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, I would really appreciate that you click the subscribe button so that you can follow along my journey. I will always be posting stuff about business, about travel as a digital nomad, and just generally like truthful takes on all things life redesign, you know, just getting rid of that influencer hypey bullcrap and just being truthful about what it's like to start over in your 30s, which is basically what I did when I quit my corporate job this time last year. So if you want to follow along and feel less alone in the sort of confusing era of your life, then this is the place to be. Okay, enough yapping. I've gone on a tangent. I will see you next Friday for another video. Take care until then. Bye.